Moving on to the next topic of our discussion is the irrigation. Now, the plants need water supply. Without the water supply, the plants will not be able to grow properly. The plant absorbs the water from the soil. The amount of water in the soil is not same all throughout the year. Due to evaporation, the water from the soil gets evaporated, and due to the percolation of water, the water reaches to the lower depth, which the plants unable to gather, or it unable to absorb. So there should be a frequent amount of water which should be supplied frequently to give the water the proper water treatment. So the supply of water in regular time is known as irrigation for their growth. If, for example, if you say that if humans does not get water for some time, the human also will not be able to survive. Likewise, the plants also does not survive for a long time if they do not get a frequent supply of water. In your house also, if you see that if you do not water your plants after some day, the plant will start dying. The leaves of the plant will become pale, and after some day you will find that the plants have died completely, because it requires water as all the living creatures do. It also requires the water. Now, so that is why the irrigation system is very important. So it needs to get regularly watered. Okay, now we will find out a few of the points for the what are the benefits of water. What benefits the irrigation can give to us, we will know now. Okay, now first of all, if you have to prepare a land for cropping, if the land is provided with some water, that means if the lands are normally not that soft, they are hard by nature. The lands are hard by nature, and when on this hard land, if you want to do the plowing or tilling, it won't be easy. It has to be irrigated first. If it is irrigated first, then the land will become soft and it will be easier for the farmers to do the plowing and tilling. Then the water is also required for the germination of the seeds. If the water is not available, if the land or the soil is dry, the seeds will not get germinated. So that is why water is essential. Thirdly, we can say that if the water is available in the soil, then what it will do, it will help the soil to mix the fertilizers or manures easily, and it can absorb it, and from there the plant's roots also can absorb the essential nutrients or essential elements which the fertilizers provides. So that is why water is also essential. One more thing we can say, that water is essential because it protects the plants from the hot airs as well as the frost of the sun. So it protects the plants from hot air, as in the summer you will see that the sun is very hot, the temperatures go very high. So that is why if the water is available in the soil, so it will somehow protect the plants from the heat and as well as from the frost. So these are the things that we have discussed now. Okay. Now, what are the factors affecting the requirements of plants? There are some factors which affect the irrigation process. Now, what are these factors? First of all, the particular type of crops that you are growing. Secondly, the type of soil you are dealing with, and the third one is the season. Okay. First of all, we will discuss about the nature of the crop. Now, all the crops does not require great amount of irrigation. Some of the crop require, like for example, paddy requires a huge amount of water. Some of the crops does not require that much amount of water. but water is essential. It only is the amount of water, or the like how much amount you are going to irrigate on that particular land. It depends on the particular type of crop that you are growing. If a certain type of crop requires more amount of water, then the irrigation has to be more. If the amount of, if the crop does not require that much amount of water, then the irrigation can be made less. Okay. Second point that we have said is the nature of the soil. So we know that there are mainly three types of soils. One is clay soil, the second one is loamy soil, the third one is sandy soil. We also know that the clay soil can retain the most amount of water. We studied in class 7. And the sandy soil can retain the less or the least amount of water. Okay. Now, in case of clay soil, you will require a less amount of irrigation. Why? Because it has a more water holding capacity. The clay soil has a more water holding capacity, and by that we can say that the clay soil also needs a less amount of irrigation. But if you take the example of sandy soil, the sandy soil percolates the water more rapidly, it passes the water more frequently, and percolation rate is more in sandy soil. So in case of sandy soil, the irrigation or the water supply to this particular land which contains the sandy soil and on which the farming or the cropping needs to be done, in this case the irrigation has to be more frequent, more amount of water has to be supplied to the soil, as because it requires more amount of water. And thus we can say that sandy soil requires more amount of irrigation and clay soil requires less amount of irrigation. Last one, that the factors which the irrigation depends upon is the season. Okay. Now, in which season we require to irrigate more amount of water, in which season we require to irrigate less amount of water. We have to irrigate more amount of water in summer season. Okay. Now, why is it so? Why do we require to provide more amount of water supply in summer season to our crop fields? The reason is that in summer season, because the rising temperature, the sun's temperatures are very high at this time in the summer season, so the water evaporates more quickly from the soil. It evaporates more quickly, and that is why the soil becomes dry. Therefore, it requires to be a frequent supply of water, and that is why the summer requires more frequent amount of water supply and irrigation. But in winter, as the temperatures go lower, and that is why you don't require that much amount of water supply, because the lesser temperature, the sun does not evaporate much amount of water from the soil, and thus we can say that the lesser amount of water irrigation is necessary for cropping in winter. So thus we have studied about the two factors which are there in the crop production for irrigation, and the type of soil and the type of crops that you are producing, and the season in which you are cropping or you are harvesting, or like whatever farming work you are doing. These are the factors which are dependent on. Now the next thing that we are going to discuss is the process by which the water is irrigated. There are so many processes by which the waters are irrigated, the farmlands are provided the water with. So now we will discuss about the process or the methods by which the water irrigation takes place. We will discuss now about the methods of irrigation in the crop field or the farmland. There are two techniques, or rather say there are two ways by which the waters are irrigated. One is the traditional method of irrigation, one is the modern method of irrigation. Now, what are the traditional methods of irrigation? The traditional methods include mainly the mode method, the chain pump method, the Dhekli method, the Rahat or the lever system method, and the pump method or water pump. And for the modern methods of irrigation, there are sprinkler methods and drip irrigation methods. Okay. Now let us discuss about the first one, that is the moat method of irrigation. So in this moat methods of irrigation, the water is drawn from the wells or any water body. Now how it is drawn? On top of the well there is a pulley. What is a pulley? Like it's a round system or a wheel like thing on which a rope is attached and a bucket is attached at the end, and on the other part what happens, there is an animal. So like animal like bullock or like any other animal whichever can pull these strings or the ropes. So this bucket or the rope goes deep down the well, and when this animal pulls this rope, the water containing this bucket containing the water pulls at the upward direction, and the farmer or anyone who is there standing nearby collects this bucket and then pours it on the land. So this is how the moat method takes place. So this moat method is a traditional technique of water irrigation. The next one is the chain method of irrigation. Now in the chain method, it's a bit of a complicated one. Now what happens, normally this chain method is utilized in case of water body like a pond or any water bodies which are at a bit lower place, and you are to provide the water or you have to put the water on the land which are a bit higher than the water body. So what does it do? There are two wheels in the chain method. A wheel at the top or at a higher altitude or a bit on top, and a wheel which are there at the lower base or which is at the lower side. Now what happens? There is a chain. In this way there is a chain which is attached to these wheels, and there are handles in this place and in this place as well, and in over here there will be buckets attached. Buckets will be attached over there. Now how does it work? There will be water body. So when this lever is rotated, the wheel at the lower part, when the lever on that wheel on the lower part, when it is rotated, these buckets go downwards and they are filled with water from the water body. And when this lever at the top, or which the wheel which is at the higher altitude or which is at the higher part, when it is rotated, then what happens? This buckets again come down towards the upward direction, and then these are poured on the farmland or the paddy field or crop field wherever it is required to be done. Okay, so this is the second method of irrigation, that is known as the chain method. The third method of irrigation is known as the dhekli. Now what is dhekli? It's a bit of a weird name, but still dhekli. What is this? Normally these dheklis and all, they are again used to lift the water, or they are used to pull the water from the wells. Now it's a traditional method. Now what is to be done? There is a long wooden, you can say fork like piece of wood, big